What's the best way to do it? That's a question that I often ask myself, and after learning from Andrew Loomis and George Bridgman books, and also Stan Proko's YouTube videos, I can say that learning more than one way is the best way. Join me as I practice drawing the figure and share some tips along the way. Let's start with materials, starting off with my second favorite after the 2B pencil, the HV pencil. And then when I want to go a little bit darker, I go ahead and use the 4B pencil as well. Next after that, the red sienna is one of my favorites, along with the blue pencil, which is coming up next. These create a cool aesthetic to my sketchbooks and make them look simply cooler. And then lastly, the mechanical pencil to get those nice lines. Only downside is I can't put it on its side and cover a lot of area at once. A sharpener, gotta have those. And then also the metal sharpener as well, which sometimes I actually prefer over the previous sharpener. Then next, a smudging tool, along with a cloth smudge as well, to get those more soft tones, more soft smudges. And then lastly, the kneaded eraser. The website that I like to go on when I'm practicing drawing the figure and gestures is Line of Action. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead, and you also get the choice between choosing what kind of models that you want to use, and then also how long. First, I start off with a 30-second one to get nice warm-up gestures. Notice how I start off with the main line going through the figure. What this does for me is it allows me to capture the essence of the figure. Notice I started off with the head, and then it was that line right after it. And that line is pretty much the spine, and I usually do it going down into the leg. My favorite part about this is being able to do multiple of these 30-second gesture drawings. And that's exactly what they are. They're simply stick figures. They're not meant to be these perfect and fully completed drawings. And I will keep doing these until I feel warmed up and feel comfortable enough to move on to the next thing. And notice how when I'm doing it though, if I find myself fully completing the gesture how I would like, I then sometimes throw in a little bit of form in there, a little bit of a more blocky form. This is really about capturing the essence of your subject, of the figure. Another thing to notice is how I'm holding the pencil. I hold the pencil with my pointer finger and my thumb, and this allows me to use my forearm more and less of my wrist, allowing me to have more range when I'm sketching. Then after I feel comfortable with those, I go ahead and move on to the 60 seconds. Now with the 60 seconds, there's a little bit more time. What I do is I take those same methods that I was learning from the 30-second ones, and then I have room to add on more pieces to the puzzle, more pieces of the figure. Another thing I like to keep in mind is using the shoulders after I go ahead and draw the main line that goes down through the figure. This is the part where I'm putting more weight on the arm. I'm blocking that in. This pose, I believe, it was in a squatting form, and this simply helps me keep in mind foreshortening, which is one of the things I learned from Andrew Loomis' book, Figure Drawing for All It's Worth. This is the part where I really use a shoulder line to indicate the direction in which the shoulders are going. That's another important part. Also, another important part is what I'm not doing right here is, which I will do later, is I throw in the rib cage after I go ahead and draw in the center line, and this really helps me with the placement of the torso. Right here, what I'm about to do is I'm about to mark the length of how tall I want the figure to be. In a way, it's a box in which I want to place the entire figure. And another thing to keep in mind is to not marry and get stuck to that length that you put it in. It's just simply to indicate and kind to have an educated guess on where you would like to place the figure. And look at those curved lines I'm using as well. I learned those from Stan Proko, using nice curved lines, sort of one stroke lines as well. This is going to help with the twisting and turning of the figure. And when you're drawing the figure, to not get stuck down or bogged down by the exact replica of what you're drawing, you simply want to keep in mind how to remember where to place certain features and parts of the body. And that's something that I keep in mind. Similar to the calf muscles, I know the calf muscle sort of has this undercurve to it, and it sort of sticks out more so than the front. So those are simple things that I keep in mind when I'm drawing the figure. And again, this is a 60-second one. It's not necessarily fully complete. It's simply to get more of the figure in there. Notice in comparison to the 30 seconds, the 30-second one's simply the stick figure, the gesture of it. The 60-second is also the gesture, and then with a bit more form to it. Now I'm gonna go ahead into the 2 minutes. 2 minutes gives me a bit more time to get those details in the figure. Another thing I encourage you to do, if you're up to it, open up Line of Action and draw along with me. Sketch along. Put this video in the background and begin sketching. And it's kind of as though you ain't studying alone. Now this one, you can see that I go in with a bit more detail. And what I want to do is, the reason why I'm recording the entire thing and not skipping through so much, because I want you to see the thought process behind it on how I make certain strokes and which stroke that I make next and which part of the body that I go to next. Sometimes when we're watching videos, we're learning it and we're looking at it, and the next thing you know, it skips to the next part and they're already almost done with the drawing. That's what I'm not striving to do with this. I'm striving to skip through some of it. At the same time, I want you guys to look at the exact process on how I sketch the figure. Notice how his shoulders are also more of a block form. I like to take the torso and create a block form out of it, and then also with the hips as well, turn that into this block shape, and that allows me to get the perspective of it better and keeps that bulk within the form. Next, let's go ahead and start on the 5 minutes. Much more time to draw and to add in those details. And what I'm doing is I've previously warmed up from the 30 second, 60 second, 2 minute, and now I'm going to take those ideas and techniques, add them to the 5 minute rounds. Notice on this one too, I circled the torso to really get that form in there as well, to get that the bulkiness of that form. One thing that I'm learning right now also too is I'm learning how to draw the feet better as well. The feet is something that I'm currently studying that I also have trouble with. The feet it's sometimes difficult to add the feet in there. And what I do for these figures is I don't do the detail on the feet, of course. I simply put them in to where it looks good and also looks proportionate to the body. At the same time, the feet is something I'm currently studying more about and learning more. Now the hands, I believe I'm much better with the hands. And it's interesting learning how to draw certain parts of the body separate from the figure. And then once you add them on to the entire figure, it's different. Something about it is a bit different. than drawing them completely separate. It's like drawing an eyeball. You can draw an eyeball separate from drawing the face, and then once you put that eye in the face, it can be a bit different. Let me know if you experience that same kind of thing. With the 5 minutes, I'm able to get those shading in. I'm able to lay in those shadows, which is more fun because it helps bring the form to life. That is how I practice drawing the figure, and also how I'm currently learning to draw the figure even more. And I'm learning how to draw the figure from different ways. One, from Andrew Loomis' book, Figure Drawing for All It's Worth. Then I also, in the past, learned from George Bridgman's book as well. And then also, I took some tips from Stan Prokopenko's YouTube videos. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video, and let me know if you want to see more videos like this one, and I will see you all next time.